to Enlightenment of Change on webtalkradio.com. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. As always, I'm psyched that you're joining us this week. Now, as we navigate change, whatever that is for you, I know it could be daunting at times, especially if the change is thrust upon you and you haven't chosen it. So I have a free gift for you to help you navigate change in your life. If you go into the show notes, you'll see my communication style assessment. That's my gift to you for you to take. 2 reports will be sent to your email. One will spotlight just your natural superpowers of how you communicate, more importantly, how you are perceived in your communication role. Flip side, your lowest score, you'll get another report. And that really is shining a light on your blind spot of people that communicate opposite of you. Kind of an important report. So again, the link is in the show notes. It's my communication style assessment, my gift to you to help you navigate change that's happening in your life. Now, my motivational quote today to set the stage for my guests and my conversation is by Ginni Rometty. And she says, growth and comfort do not coexist. Now, I remember when I published my #1 international best-selling book, woohoo, ESP, Easy Sales Process, way back in 2022. I didn't think I was going to generate $1 million. That was not my motive at all. I did, however, believe that it would help spotlight my level of expertise while helping me build trust with my future clients. Now, here's the thing. When you're writing the book, right, thinking people will even resonate with the message within it, the mind, you know it, right? The mind starts playing those tricks. And my volume on my inner negative record player, whoo, it went through the roof. So that old mind trap of you're not good enough. No one's going to find value in your book. There's so many other sales books out there. What's so different about yours? And the list and that mantra went on and on in my brain. Well, today I have an amazing sales expert, Andrew Fitzgerald. And Andrew and I, we're going to discuss his new book, How Did I Get Here? And how people have been responding to this best-selling book. Now, Andrew and I recorded a show on my other podcast, Changing the Sales Game, and I will put that in the show notes for you as well. I'd like you to listen to both his shows with me because I think you'll get some real value. Let me just tell you a little bit about Andrew. So Andrew is a native of Ireland. He resides in Oceanside, California, and again, is the author of How Did I Get Here? Now, Andrew, a global beverage brand builder, has launched, managed, and scaled some of the world's biggest alcohol brands through his unique approach with retailers, distributors, and of course, sales teams. He's an expert in negotiation and coaching sales teams in the corporate world. Andrew's extensive travel throughout the US ultimately resulted in him making a permanent move here. The many challenges and fears he faced and the need to show his resilience in the face of that adversity. He's a father, husband, and author, and he speaks on what it takes to be successful in the corporate world and how to overcome health crisis, loss, and recover to flourish and thrive with resilience at the core of his story. So please help me welcome my amazing friend, Andrew, to the show. Andrew, thanks for being on.
Hey, Connie, thanks for checking in with me again. It's been 4 months since we had our first episode.
I don't know. And everybody listening, time is flying by. It's kind of scary, but yeah, it was 4 months. And like I said, Andrew, I'll put that show link from the other podcast in the show notes. I think once people get to hear what you're saying, I think they're going to be interested in hearing that show as well. Again, it gives a little more depth into what you're about, how you manage sales in your world of that liquor world, but more importantly, why you wrote the book and what the repercussions or ripple effect has been. So, we spoke about 4 months ago. How's the book performing? Is it doing what you would hope it would do? All of those kinds of things.
Sure, yeah. So the book has now been live for 5 months, and it's performed beyond my expectations. So the motivations, again, for writing the book was, 1, to have no regrets, because I wanted to do it. And my wife listened to me for many years talking about it, and she gave me a kick in the butt and said, let's go do it. Number 2 was to give a copy to my son, Alfie, who's 4 years of age, and leave a legacy for him. And I've done that. And number 3, of course, was for the reader and the message of resilience. So it's performing great in terms of sales. And I quickly learned after a couple of months to stop selling the book, promote the message. And I needed to remember and go backwards to what I did in my liquor business or launching these brands. was to get closer to people and understand people's motivations and stop pushing and talk about the message and let people make their own mind up. It was something they wanted to be interested in, but sales would take care of themselves then eventually. So I'm trying to spread the message of resilience, and who better than me myself? So I'm doing a lot of live events, a lot of one-on-ones, a lot of group talks about my book, and of course book fairs and that kind of thing. And I'm testing it all. It's all still very new to me, but I'm really enjoying it.
You said something very profound that I think is you're a sales expert, as am I. And when the book came out, right, you talk about it. You should buy my book. You should buy my book, because we're so excited about this baby, right, that we've created and written. And it's time, it's effort, right, and it's fear of that whole rejection thing, because now you poured your heart and soul into this book, right? Here's the funny thing. Just like I don't sell me, I listen to my client, what they need, and then I share, oh, you know how I can help you, or a good idea of what you can do, or the culture you should, whatever the alternative resource recommendation is, but you have to listen first. So it's exactly what you said, having the conversation about the message of why sales is important, why your book is important, why resilience is important. Then people resonate and they say, oh, I'd love to buy your book. We don't have to say, go buy my book. It's flipping that script, but isn't that what we do in sales? We don't push a product. We don't push a book. We get to know the client, make the recommendation based on where they are. So we have to talk about the resilience and why it's important. And then people are, oh, I have to buy this book. I have to read this book. So counterintuitive how we live and do things, right?
Absolutely. It's a complete flip-flop of the way we normally think we should do things. So once I twigged that after 2 months, then suddenly I started asking great questions about people and about their experiences in life, and let people talk and listen to them, and then, refer them to say, hey, maybe you get something out of this section in my book, check it out. If it's for you, great. If it's not, please pass it on to someone else. And that's all I've done.
Absolutely.
So, but being a salesperson, I do have plenty of stats. So we average about 4.3 books a day between Amazon, website, and then of course stuff that I might do at the weekend, which is great. And then from people who've signed up to the website and people who've come back with reviews and reached out, everybody's over the age of 40. So that's important for me to know that, because when I'm 45, so I think back to my experiences, times growing up in say the 80s, the 90s, or the music, when I'm posting on social media, I try and pick songs from our genre that the readers, and then 70% are female. So a lot of females are really reading the book. And what was the other key stat? Oh yes, so 80% of the book sales are paperback, so 20% are Kindle. So it's just kind of important to know your business, I guess, and my business is a book.
That is fascinating. So 70% are women. So ladies listening, clearly this is a book for us, right? That's fascinating in and of itself. The 4.3, good for you. I'm so proud of you. That's just awesome. And what was the other stat you said? 40, the average age is 40. So that's interesting too.
Well, I think the book is really about life experience. So the 4 sections, of course, will be overcoming a health crisis. So as you get a bit older, you may have some, ailments and health things. And then immigration, or changing your circumstances in life. Many people later in life say, I want to do something, I want to change my situation. The 3rd section was business, so everyone can kind of relate to something in their lives. And I guess, look, the 4th section is very personal, about miscarriage and loss, and a sense of loss. So perhaps ladies and women are resonating with that too, who hasn't had some sort of loss, be it a miscarriage or some other loss in life.
Everybody's had loss, right, of one sort or another, for sure. All right, of all of that, what surprised you the most, that you're like, what? Like, all of that was awesome, like the 70% women, all of that, but what just sticks with you, like mind-blowing, didn't expect it, after they're reading the book, the feedback that you're getting?
Yeah, I still I'm getting goosebumps now, people to say, like, you've had an impact on me, and I'm going to do X, or I'm going to do Y, or I'm going to reconcile something in my past. I still have goosebumps. Very humbling, very gratifying. I was captain of a soccer team growing up in Ireland, and I always thought it was great to bring somebody up who might have had a bad game, or cheer them on, or help them out of a bad situation. But this is very personal and human. So every time someone reaches out, I genuinely haven't had negative criticism. I don't look at criticism as positive or negative. I find it all meaningful because there's less emotion involved in that. But when people come to me and say that I'm going to do something and I'm putting some plans in place, and what do you think? And could you help me? And it's just giving of my free time. That's really humbling. Uh, and people are opening up and having conversations with their partners about loss in life or chasing these dreams. And my buddies are speaking more openly too. So, and men, even though, when I say there's a lot more females reading it, men are reading it and they're saying, you know what, you've given me some inspiration to have that conversation with somebody about resilience and overcoming something. So it's doing more than I thought it would do. And one of the things I meant to say there, just when I go back to sales, because I don't want to be too salesy, but I set up an account for Alfie, and all the royalties going to his account. So,
Oh,
the money that I spent on writing this book and getting a book coach and the book cover and all so on and so forth, I had budgeted for that over 2.5 years. So all the royalties going to his account for later in life. And that's it really, that's my legacy, the book, my story, and then a little bit of money coming from him as well, which hopefully he'll spend wisely.
what a gift to say, hey, I wrote this, right? Put blood, sweat, and tears, and my heart and soul into this book, right? As a legacy. At Partial was a legacy for him. You said that was one of the reasons, right? For Alfie. And then to show the financial repercussion, right? And let's face it, the book isn't $100 a book, right? They're affordable. Anybody could afford a book. So for him to see your piece of that from Amazon and whatever, that little things, what a great lesson for financial. Here's my financial hat I'm putting on, Andrew. Do you see that? I can't help it, right? But it's that financial piece of, look at these, $1, $5, whatever it is for you with the revenue from the book gets added in. And then for him to see the growth on that, it's another beautiful gift and another beautiful lesson. That was the other thing I was going to say. You wrote the book for various reasons, and I like how you broke it into the 4 categories. And then to hear people respond with how it's touched them, like you said, you were getting the goosebumps. Who would think, like when you were a kid, when I was a kid, that number one, would I have ever published a book? Probably didn't even hit my radar. But second would be that your lifetime of experience that you put into this book, and that someone else sees value in that lifetime. Wow. Like it's so, like I tell my kids, and I know your son is quite young still, but my kids are men, and they go, oh, I don't know what I want to do. Oh, I don't love my job. Oh, whatever it is that's going on. And I think 20 years from now, this is going to be a moot conversation, because you can't even anticipate what doors are going to open, how you're going to navigate. So when we now, as elders, you're in your 40s, I'm in my 60s, and you're not an elder, I'm an elder. Let me rephrase that, everybody. He's only in his 40s. But me being in my 60s, Andrews, I think that lifetime and that people resonate with it. It's touching, that it's a way of us to pay it forward, right?
Correct, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think that, I spoke in the first episode, about helping my parents out at 9 years of age in the kitchen making cakes in Ireland, and my dad bringing me to the supermarket on a Saturday and merchandising, and Alfie's on a Saturday helping me put books into an envelope. And, it's not that I'm trying to recreate that. He just wants to help, and we're doing it together for any sales that come through the website. But I certainly never knew that I would write a book or publish a book or become an international bestseller. I didn't know I would live in America. I think that when opportunities come along, it's all about grasping those. And when doors open, walk through them. I mean, there's a great saying that if you say yes to everything and figure it out, which probably is a good thing in one way. I mean, you won't do anything or take on something that you're not really skilled at. And I heard a great one during the week. I was on a flight a few weeks back, and a guy said, what would you do if the flight went down or was going to go down? I said, well, I'd probably call my wife. What I said, why are you asking me this? Sort of asking, well, do you think you could fly the plane? And I said, I'm confident I could fly the plane, but I'm not skilled. So there's a big difference between confidence in life and skill. And I see lots of people who are confident, but we have to acquire skills too for opportunities in life.
Yeah, it's a balancing act. Everything is a balancing act. You have people that are lifelong students, and they learn and they learn and they learn, and they have all this brilliant information, and you could have an awesome conversation and they do nothing with it. It's like, it's information, but if you're not applying it to make those changes, whatever those changes might be in your life, it's information. And that I'm a lifelong learner, but I learned something. I'm like, ooh, let me play with this. Let me experiment. Let me see what the repercussions are. And sometimes, Andrew, right? You do something and you think, I never have to do that again. I'm good. But I believe you shouldn't look back and say, should have, would have, could have, do it. And then you choose, now you have a choice of saying, yeah, I don't ever want to do that again, or apply it into your business, your life, your career, and see what happens. Sometimes that's where the magic is, when we play and explore, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think when I was writing the book, like you would know, we have to edit our books, and it's a lot like life. We edit our life throughout our life. We move in different directions. We change things around. We look at different things from different perspectives. But it's certainly a journey that we should all embrace and take on things. Like, I mean, life is very short. I don't want to look back and say I could have, would have, should have done something. Where possible, I try not to have regrets, and seize the day as best we can, and go with the flow too.
Yeah, we can't be too intense. And the other thing, talk to me about the resilience, and then I want to ask you more questions about the book. But again, before you said the message of the book, when you share it, people are like, oh, I need to read this book. What truly at the core of this book and in your heart is that message of resilience?
Yeah, the ability to overcome anything in your life, survive and thrive. But I think ultimately the key message throughout the book is you got to go get support, so you can do a lot of things on your own, but you got to bring people in with you. You got to ask support, get a community. So there was things in the times in my life I never sought out support, be it too stoic, or perhaps I thought I could figure all this out on my own. And you get more out of getting support for people, opening up, talking to people. And I think that sometimes we can be a bit too humble or stoic to say, yeah, we can solve all this ourselves. But that's probably the piece, and I think it's given all those readers and other people that they've told about the book and referred to, the opportunity to be brave, speak out, change your circumstances.
Yeah, and speak up, but you have to find your voice. And sometimes somebody has the solution that you can't even comprehend, right? That's our filters. That's, men and women, we think differently. You're at a different age group than I am. So we see things, we see the world and circumstances and environments and people and changes, whatever's going on. We just have a little bit different perspective. So it was funny. I was talking to my niece over the July 4th weekend. We were all down the shore together. And I don't know what I said to her. And I said, oh, I love when you talk, like she's more detail driven. And so she says something, and I thought, oh, how did I not even see that? That was so obvious. Well, it was obvious to her. It wasn't to me. And I said, whenever I have those moments, I really try to pause. And if the person allows, I'll ask questions. How did you get there? How did you go from point A to point B to point C? Like I went from point A to point C. How did you see that little piece in there? And what happens is it improves my perspective. I'll never be able to think like that person, but by asking that question and trying to understand improves our perspective. So we see more or bigger or more opportunities, but it's a learned behavior, right? You have to learn, you have to pause to be able to ask that question. And that now we're having a conversation about thought processes that then I could start to play and strategize using perhaps that idea of how she thinks or processes information. So we're really brilliant creatures. And when we do bring or invite other people in to help us, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I didn't see that. That you just saved me 5 hours. But we think we have to push the boulder uphill all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said there, pause. I had to work very hard on in my business conversations, and even now talking about my book, when someone comes to a book fair, I'm like, how long do I have with this person? Maybe it's 2 minutes, maybe it's 5 minutes, and I want to get it all out. But like I'm reminded of the acronym that I always learned, which was WAIT, wait. Why am I talking?
I love it.
And if I hit wait in my head, I'm like, yep, just listen, open ears, and then respond. Maybe ask a question that delves a bit deeper and stop talking again.
Well, and it's interesting because they might say something that the book is a resource, but maybe they need to meet a colleague of yours. And now we're referring because you're the connector in all these situations as well. And I think that's part of the fun when we get to do those introductions. because so I don't benefit from it, but they do. And you know what? That person you're referring it to, you don't know down the road, they might refer 10 people. So
Sure.
it's all this game of reciprocity and this beautiful exchange of energy. And the book is a nice catalyst to have us do that, which I think is really cool. Let another question. Now that you've published the book, how are you managing the different approaches you have since the publishing? So like your PR, social media, merchandise, all of that. Anything surprising, or what are you doing for people who are maybe thinking about doing a book or are in the throes of doing a book? What are some things that maybe they could think about that you've already addressed or experienced?
Well, definitely Amazon has been fantastic. I know Amazon in some countries might not be the most welcome thing, because if I give you an example of Ireland where Amazon doesn't exist, and people in Ireland have to buy through Amazon Germany,
Oh,
because the UK left Europe. So, anyone buying from the UK would be charged customs. So you got to buy from Germany and so on and so forth. So, but also could be seen as closing down independent bookstores. And we don't want that, of course. We want independent bookstores to survive and thrive as well. So, but for Amazon, anyone publishing on Amazon, you got to keep constantly updating it. You got to keep looking at the rankings. At the start, I wanted to be in categories where I could improve my ranking, but now I've changed it. That I want to be in tough categories. I want to be in really tough ones where people are going to look for something about resilience or motivation, and I want to be up against the best books, really, really, really best books, because I feel the book can stand on its own. It offers value to people. And then my own website, it's really interesting. I mean, I was doing some giveaways, Connie, so I learned fast that if you run a giveaway for a week, nobody will buy your book because they think they might win it at the end of next week. So they'll wait and wait for a result. So now I do like a 24-hour giveaway or a 48-hour. And of course, I'm trying to build my distribution list. And then, but I found myself, I'm the author, I'm the story, meeting people one-on-one at these authors events. And I've been doing a lot of sip and paint nights, but also adding in book readings. It's really interesting. Getting 30 or 40 people together that are interested in painting art and talk about books. And then also gone and done the traditional book fairs, and they're interesting. I'll try everything. But I got to say that the PR stuff I'm still doing myself. I mean, I've had a lot of people reach out, and I give everybody respect because they're at the heart of it. They're service providers, they're experts in their field. And, I do want to give people time to listen to them, but I just haven't found any one person that has just hit on all that too. I mean, it's tricky because I'm trying to manage Ireland, England business versus America, and everyone's reach is different. So I have to do a little bit more than that. I moved the book, sort of the title rights, to Ingram Sparks. So that was something that I hadn't really ventured into. And now people could walk into any bookstore and order my book, or colleges. I did
nice.
a talk with some students in University College of Dublin, which I really liked. And in return, they bought some books, and that was great, So, I mean, you don't always have to charge a fee for speaking. People want to buy some books, and then that's more people reading. So there's a lot more that I can do, and I'm hoping to do with the book as we continue.
It's fascinating. The whole Ireland thing with Amazon. See, I'm in the US, right? You're in the US now. I had no idea. So that itself is interesting for anyone that's thinking about becoming an author. Yeah, Amazon, you have to be on Amazon. The other thing, Ingram Sparks, my book was on Ingram Sparks. So Barnes and Noble, Target, they might have my book, or somebody can certainly order it. So that's an important piece. The other thing is you were speaking, I was thinking, wow, that must have been a learning experience. Wow, that must have been a learning experience. And that's the other thing. It's our own growth. We write the book, it was, oh, you're the expert, but the aftermath, and I mean that in a good way, right? That ripple effect after writing the book, it's like, I didn't even see that coming. You can't anticipate how people are going to respond to you, to the book, to the story, whatever it might be, or the lesson, like in your case, the resilience. So that to me is so fascinating as well, because humans are responding. Again, I'll go back to their filters. What are their filters? Are they a man? Are they a woman? Are they older? Are they younger? Were they born in this country, out of another country? Where do they live? In a city or a suburb? All of those filters impact how we see the world. So just so interesting, really cool. You have a good pulse though on what is going on with the book, which see, that's the sales. What are my numbers? What's my ratios? We're constantly reiterating and refining. And I think that's another message for anyone listening. Forget about even a book. If you're thinking of book, your own career, what are your own metrics? I think that's important as well. So you can, and I'm not just talking financial, right? What's my income, but what is the next job for you? We have to, I think, understand, I want to get to that job or that career. I want this new business, line in my own business. What does it take to do that? So I think there's so many moving parts that you can't even anticipate. But I think if we could look and analyze things, it could help steer us. Like you were saying, well, that's not working. I'm not going to spend time and money there, but I could spend time and money over here where I'm making a bigger impact, right?
Correct. Yeah. And patience was one of the things that I really had to learn around the book, because it takes people time to read a book. Even though the book is short, concise, easy to dip in and dip out of, it does take time. And then people need to digest the information. And then maybe they run into a particular situation and they say, oh yeah, I read Andrew Fitzgerald's book. That kind of makes sense now.
Yeah.
So I was, anxious is probably a word. Oh, where's the reviews coming? And why are people reaching out? Like I remember texting some of my buddies, did you finish the book yet? And they're like, relax. So it's, trying too hard, and we all know that kind of feeling too in life, sport, business. It was, when I was selling and launching big brands like White Claw Hard Seltzer, I had someone pop a can, try it. What do you think? You get instant feedback. This is longer, protracted feedback. The book will live forever. Just be calm, go with the flow. So I had to teach myself that,
Calm, go with the flow. That's not usually salespeople's MO.
We're all hustle bustle.
Yeah, I tease Andrew when people say the word patience, or they go, Connie, can you help me with patience? I said, listen, when God was handing that skill out, I must have gone to the bathroom, because I work on patience every day, right? So that's so funny how, hey, you got to own your stuff, right? That's the bottom line. Do you think you're going to write another book after this experience, or is that like too soon?
A little bit too soon. However, once I kind of really understand the core message and the one section that people really resonate with, I certainly will do something around that, or develop it into a course of resilience, because there's a lot more in this story and a lot more within me. And but I'm really enjoying it. I'm embracing it and having fun with it too. So like, the old adage is, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I'm still doing some work with a great brand called Club Tales Cocktails. So working with them, they're a company based in Rochester, New York. And everything's going great. It's just really enjoyable. And the biggest thing I did, Connie, was put the Irish flag and the American flag on the book.
I love
Because
it.
otherwise it's just a book on the shelf, but it kind of just catches people's eyes and they're curious, and then we
Yeah.
get them in, draw them in,
It is. It's so funny, Andrew. And you did it for those on Apple. If you go to YouTube, he held up the book, but it does at the top. It has the Irish flag and the American flag. And it's a very plain book other than that, but it speaks volumes to who you are, right? And about that move literally across the world to come here and now reside here with family and stuff. That's a big change. Now, when we spoke, right, I know that you've mentioned the liquor sales and you have some amazing clients. I'm still waiting for free samples. I'm teasing. But how or has your book helped you with the competition out there? Because we had July 4th, we went to the liquor store and, whatever you're drinking. And I said to my niece, I said, oh my God, there's so many of the lemonades, but there's also so many of the White Claws, and every beverage company has their version. So has the book impacted that? Like, I'm curious, right? What's that ripple effect?
Absolutely, 100%. The book has really helped separate me from other competitors. Retailers really resonated with it. Deeper connection. They know a lot more about me than just the Irish guy that moved to America, plays a bit of golf, has a history of following through. So it gives much more depth to our conversations, and we've paused meetings to talk about life experiences. And again, because I've been around a long time, that doesn't cause me anxiety to say, oh my God, I still have 4 more slides in my PowerPoint and I have to get to the pricing. So now we're having a deeper connection. And I suppose what it does, it just builds that customer journey for me. Henry Ford always said that you build your reputation on what you've done, not what you're going to do. And the book kind of shows what I've done. So it's added tons of value. Look, I've had retailers speak to me about their personal lives. It's different, it's
intimate.
We're becoming friends. Intimate. Exactly.
Yeah, intimate. So, not in a weird way, but they know you, the person, not just the liquor representative. It's a whole
Yes.
different vibe, and that they feel, again, I think the book, but you too, you're very, very lovely. But the book, it just opens up that dialogue where somebody could say to you, when I read that chapter and whoa, I didn't realize I was brave, or I didn't realize I was
Mhm.
resilient, or I didn't realize I had that within me. And now you're in a liquor store, or at the whoever the headquarters is, and you're having these very intimate, personal conversations. I think I think it makes it easier to do sales and business, because we are who we are. And if somebody resonates with you or me, beautiful. And if you don't, that's okay. Maybe you like, the other person out there
Mm.
better. There's enough business to go around. But I think that intimacy makes us different than other vendors, with you, with the beverage sales, me, right, with my financial sales. So yeah, I think it's intimate. That's the only word I could come up with. And I think it's lovely.
Yeah, and it's an honest account of things too. So it kind of speaks to my own personal values of respect and integrity, and it marries with retailers. Some retailers I've never met before, and I send them a copy of my book, 3 or 4 weeks before we have our meeting, and it's just a point of separation. So, but I'm very proud to share the story too. So, I mean,
As you
must
should
remember
be.
these retailers all do business with Ingram Sparks too.
Yes, that's right. That's right. All right. So we're out of time, but I do have
Sure.
one more question. So your mom,
Yes.
she's the rock star with the sales. How's mom's numbers?
Mom's numbers are through the roof. I mean, like, she's definitely winning employee of the month and salesperson of the year. So my mom back in Ireland, for people who are listening for the first time, she's been inviting the neighbors around, and my mom is 84, so they're all of a certain age, and she's selling books and she's mailing them out, and my dad's driving to the post office and she's spreading the message. And I had to say, Mom, you're too aggressive with the sales. Talk about the message. So but she's doing a great job, and she's got a kick out of it, and it's brought the community together and her friends as well. So it's great energy. So I'm grateful for that. That's a consequence of the book. I didn't realize that was going to happen.
I love it, because she's so proud of you as a mom, right? You're a dad,
Yeah.
like you said, all the proceeds are going to go to Alfie, right? My kids, when they see you do something and they compliment you, you go, "Oh, thanks." So mom, of course, your mother's going to get on the rooftops and start shouting it. I love it, and that you're the sales expert. You're like, "Mom, chillax. Like, you got to reel it in a little bit." I love it. I love it. That's great. And everybody will hear the story about mom and how she's out there pounding the pavement, making those sales. God bless her. I think that is so adorable. And I think it's cute that you have to reel her in. I love it. I love it. Good for mom. We love you, mom. So here's the deal, everybody. Everybody should read a copy of this book, because it truly is inspiring. And you do share, Andrew, also tips and strategies about how to be resilient, and hearing someone's story, I think, inspires us, right? Change, enlightenment of change is the show. But I think when we hear someone's story, you think, "Oh, I wanted to do that. Oh, maybe I can do that," right? It's that inspiration of taking that next step and having the courage to do it. So again, I think everybody should read the book. It's summer, great reading in the summer while you sit on the beach or you're on vacation. So go to the website, which is andrewfitzgeraldauthor.com. I will put that in the show notes. If you have a question specifically for Andrew, please reach out to him. It's Fitzgerald and then _Andrew at yahoo.com. And if you go to the website, andrewfitzgeraldauthor.com, and you subscribe, right? If they subscribe, tell me what they'll get.
Correct. Yeah. Subscribe to the mailing list. Put in the subject Connie's podcast, and you will receive a 30-minute one-on-one coaching resilience call where we can discuss anything you want to discuss. And I hope I can help you.
I love it. That's great. Thank you so much. That's very generous. And I appreciate that you're doing that for my peeps out there. Because, Andrew, I think COVID, I still think people are rebounding from that. Both emotionally, physically, certainly, especially if you had COVID, the COVID fog and all that. But I even think from a business perspective, we're still trying to find our footing a little bit. Lot changed in the past 3 years. So that word resilience, I think people might sometimes feel, should I be doing more? Could I be doing more? What should I be doing? And I think having those conversations, just those authentic, real conversations, are super helpful. So thank you for offering that. I truly appreciate that.
Thank you, Connie. As always, really appreciate your energy and passion. And thanks for having me on your podcast again.
You have an open door with me, Andrew. Open door, I tell you. So seriously, like when not if, when you do the next book, right? You have a slot on my shows. But also stay in touch.
Sure.
We're in similar groups with things, so we'll see each other. But I really do want to see, and if you have any aha moments that you think my listeners will benefit from, I am so welcome to that, because like you, I just want people to love their life and love their business and career and just show up and embrace change, whatever that means for everybody, and not be afraid to live this beautiful life that we're given, right?
Agree 100%. Yeah, trust yourself, back yourself, and go forth with confidence.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much again. And thank you all for joining us today. And join us weekly as we question, build, and discover together, no matter where you are on your journey of change. My guests and I, we've got you. We have resources, ideas, books, information, free consultations that are offered. Information's a beautiful thing. I say this every week, Andrew. They all hate it, but I'm repeating it anyway, because one day it'll really resonate. Information's a beautiful thing. If you do nothing with it, it's simply information in your brain. Once you start applying that information in the real world and in your life, I promise you, magic happens on the back end. So read the book, do something differently, be inspired by Andrew and my conversation today. I truly, truly wish you an inspired week filled with wonderful change that you're able to embrace and apply in your life to create that magic on the back end. Thank you for tuning in to Enlightenment of Change with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.com. Again, I am so thrilled and honored to have you on this journey of change with me and tuning in weekly into the episodes. I love you all, and I want you all to just be so successful in life and live life large. And I love you, and I'll see you next week. Have a great one.